Can all of you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
I can see it too.
Okay, I guess it's clear to all of you. So without any further ado, we can start now. So the topic about today's presentation is my IELTS preparation guidelines. So once again, hello everyone. So this is Dayanip Nulaswat, one of your recent students of the first Epsilon IELTS batch. It's a wholehearted welcome to all of you in my today's presentation and my topic.
Diane,
Okay,
I actually have a little tiny or teeny weeny request, just to enlarge it a little bit. So just zoom it in, and that's it. You're good to go, man.
Okay, just wait a minute. Can you see it now
My
clearly?
apologies. Oh yeah, thank you.
Okay. So the topic about my today's presentation is the recent and ongoing IELTS preparation, where I would like to share my preparation and guidelines in preparing for the IELTS exam. Besides this, it's my absolute honor to give thanks to my parents, teachers, and mentors, and especially the manager of Epsilon International, Topon sir, who has provided me his endless supports and motivations in influenced me to do the IELTS course under Epsilon. As per his instructions, so I was motivated to create a syllabus of the total IELTS module before the start of the course. And later on, I was also informed to design a plan or itinerary of my own IELTS preparation that has been ongoing now in order to keep it as a reference for the upcoming new candidates. I extremely appreciate Tapun sir and all staff of Epsilon along with my parents from the bottom of my heart for such a wonderful favor. So without any further ado, we can move ahead and start our presentation. So in this presentation, I have pointed out principally three objectives about which I'm going to describe in brief in order to obtain a better score in IELTS. As you can see, the first one is compiling all latest resources from varieties of sources such as websites and social platforms and others. And the purpose will be to increase your knowledge in varieties of ways. Secondly, we are going to know about all the fundamental tips and tricks for scoring a good band in IELTS. And lastly, we are going to discuss about planning for a successive schedule using the above tools in the context of setting your target for the final exam. According to my plan, I have dedicated this presentation to take about half an hour or around 40 minutes. But if you want, I can extend the time for more if you want to know more in details. So our contents of today's presentation are the following. You can see introduction to IELTS, then structure of IELTS from IELTS official website, then resources which has been compiled personally by me, then tips and tricks to get 8+ or 9 band in IELTS, with the reference of Google and YouTube, then how to prepare for the exam, how to register for the exam using the British Council IELTS official website. And lastly, we are going to talk about how to prepare yourself for the final exam day. So basing on the three objectives that I mentioned, I am going to give a brief details about resources that has been compiled personally by me and tips and tricks to get 8 to 9 band in IELTS and how I preparing for the IELTS exam. And about the other points like introduction, structure, and how to register, I'm going to give you an overall view because most of you know about what is IELTS and what type of structure IELTS contain. So I'm going to just give you an overall view and highlight the main points required. But I'll basically focus upon the three objectives that I have mentioned. So without any further ado, let's go forward. Our first topic is introduction to IELTS. We almost know everything about what is IELTS and why IELTS should be taken along with the test types and modules. But IELTS is International English Language Testing System. As you know, it is for the non-native speakers who want to visit in abroad, such as Australia, USA, Canada, or United Kingdom, or New Zealand, and etc. It checks your ability to read, write, listen, and speak. In order to work, study, and migrate, as well as the demandable and prospective language for being English, IELTS is mandatory to be taken. Then there are three types of tests, as you know: academic, then general training, and life skills. So since most of our candidates are now prior to studying in abroad, so it's better to focus on the IELTS academic test. And especially those who are interested to go to UK for higher studies, they should register with the UKVI IELTS academic or general training test, as you know. For more details, you can go up to the link that I have mentioned here and know more information. Modules, as you know, are 4 in total: the listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And that there are two types of test formats. One is paper based, another one is computer based. Most of us are adapted to give tests in paper, and the computer based test has come recently, so most of us are not adapted or yet more informative to it. So if you are interested to take your test in computer, this is the link from British Council. They describe you how to take it. As you know, that listening, reading, and writing are taken in the same day, while speaking is taken on the other day after the accomplishment of the written test. Then we want to know about the IELTS academic section. It is basically, as I described, for those who want to study at either undergraduate or postgraduate level anywhere in the world, or they want to apply for a student route visa or work in a professional organization. So the fees are as follows, and the duration you can see is 2 hours and 45 minutes for written, and speaking is 11 to 14 minutes. The materials, free practice test, and others are detailed here in this link. If you go through this, you will find out. And this is the overall band score given in IELTS in the scale 0 to 9. And each skill level for each band is given here, as you can see. So if you take your test on paper, your speaking test may be offered on the same day or a day before and after, as you know. But if you take your test on computer, the speaking test will be on the same day with the main test, although you have the option to change any of the given speaking test dates. I think you know about this. I just highlighted the main points so that you can have a clear idea. Now we want to move on to the structure of IELTS. As you know, IELTS has 4 types of modules, which are listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Since you know the format and the details of each of the module, so I'm going to skip the points, but I'm just going to highlight what does each contain. Such as listening has varieties of questions, as you know, and it has 40 questions in 4 section, and total time is 40 minutes. Reading also has 40 questions in total, divided into 3 passages, and total time is around 1 hour. And these questions can be found inside the test. In case of writing, there are 2 types of question. One is report, another one is essay. You have to answer this module under 60 minutes. Report can be found in graph, table, diagram, etc., while essay can be found in social, technological, or political. For report, you are allowed to write at least 150 minutes, and for essay, at least 250 words. Candidate is basically assessed on task achievement for report, while task response for essay, along with grammatical range and accuracy, lexical resource, and coherence cohesion. And if you exceed word limit or get irrelevant, these are not to be allowed in writing, as you know. Lastly, we have the speaking part, which is a one-to-one interview having 3 types of sessions. One is about introduction, then 2-minute speech, and a follow-up question answer session. Total time is 11 to 15 minutes. The following criteria are used to assess candidates, and the test is specially taken on a separate day. So after analyzing these 4 modules, I have consulted with different students in case of Bangladeshi. So I have come to know that most of the students from our country are getting lower bands in writing and speaking compared to listening and reading. So for example, if they achieve band 7 plus in listening and reading, unfortunately, they have to get under band 7, around band 5 or 6 in writing and speaking. So in order to cope up with this situation, It's my suggestion that if the students can focus equivalently on each module and provide equal time, then they will have an effective preparation. I hope it is clear to you. So without any ado, I complete this section. Now I'm going to talk about one of the most important objective that I have mentioned before, and it is the first objective, that is resources, which has been compiled personally by me. As you can see, there are 7 categories in total. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is known as the syllabus design. This is basically for understanding the whole IELTS course system and exam. This is firstly designed by student himself, and from time to time, he or she should develop it. How he will design, there are 3 features, as you can see. The first one is the self-prepared curriculum for long course. Actually, it will be taken from the reference of YouTube and IELTS official websites that are mentioned. Then second one is under the Epsilon course, that is Epsilon design curriculum for long course. The timeline, as you see, is 16 days. Each day it's 2 hours. And lastly, the self-prepared crash course, which is designed for 8 days, and each day you'll need to invest 4 to 5 hours. Now, in order to know how to prepare this syllabus for a student, I'm going to show you a sample of mine. Can you see my spreadsheets, everyone?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, so the first one you can see is my IELTS syllabus. Actually, before the start of the first batch of Epsilon IELTS, I was being motivated and instructed by the manager, Topon sir, to create a syllabus for the students as well as for Epsilon. So after analyzing all the informations and materials, I have created a pre-assessed plan. As you can see, it is the IELTS full course 2021, and it has been around 20 days of classes and preparations. So around these 20 days, the first 13 days, we will be covering the 4 modules in case of its instructions, materials, all resources, and other materials such as from Google or any other website or any types of YouTube videos, etc. After 13 days, the rest of the 7 days left, we will be focusing on tests, whether it's individual or combined. So we will take 8 tests as individual for each of the module. Then on the 18th day, after taking the individual tests, we will demonstrate a motivational model test with someone who has scored well in IELTS. That means we will bring someone who has achieved good band score in IELTS and also in each module to know about him and how he has prepared. And after that, on the final 2 days, we will focus mainly on the combined mock test. The facilities given here, as you know, the 2 hours lecture and 5 reviews I have previously mentioned. So I'm just going to skip that. Now, the second one I told about was the Epsilon designed curriculum. This is basically depended upon the Epsilon materials. That is, on the first batch, what we have learned and what types of materials we have been taught and what we have done are demonstrated here. After the completion of the course, I analyzed and compiled all the materials and designed this table, as you can see. So this course contains 16 days, and according to the course, on the first 13 days of this course, we were taught all the 4 modules and completed the syllabus. And the rest of the 3 days, the 3 mock tests were taken consecutively for the betterment of the candidates. If you have any queries, you can unmute yourself and ask me for any types of question, and otherwise I may go forward. Lastly, we have the crash course that has been designed by me for under the request of manager Mr. Thapon sir. So the crash course is for 8 days basically. And each of the 2 days we will be covering each module. Suppose you can see day 1 and 2, we will be covering the writing module, and these are the materials that have been done under writing. Then the next 2 days we will have the reading module, and these are the materials. Then like this we will go forward with listening. Then lastly we'll complete the speaking part, and after completion of this crash program, we will do mock tests from the next days. So although I have written here that 3 mock tests should be given, but I would like to suggest that as far as you can give more mock tests as you can for your betterment and for improving your skills. I hope it is clear to you and everything has been said under it. Now, this has been the description for the syllabus design format, and I hope by using these materials, students will be clear about what to settle and what to study during their preparation. Secondly, we will talk about the Epsilon materials, that is 2 months course consisting of 16 classes, which has been done in the first IELTS batch. And this has been focused on resources, tips, and tricks. Secondly, it revises all the materials that have been done in class. For this, I have created a folder in my desktop. I think you can see it. Can you see the desktop folder?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is my personal folder where I have collected all the materials and resources. As you can see, I have created 4 separate folders for each module, and there are some additional folders and files. So I'll just go through the listening folder. If you come here, you can see that there is one of the recordings from Cambridge official IELTS books, which has been series from 1 to 16. Here you can find all the recordings, as you can see, from Cambridge 1 to Cambridge 16. And from the next, we have the recordings as well as the files that have been taught under Epsilon course, and some recordings also. I think you know about it, so I'm just going to give it a short break. For other 3 modules also, there are same materials like files and folders and the activities that we have done inside the course. Same goes for speaking and writing, as you can see. So this was the folder that I want to show you, that where I have collected all my Epsilon materials, and using this I am preparing myself for the upcoming IELTS exam. Next, we have the compiled self materials, that is the my materials which I have collected from different sources. There are 2 links given, as you see. These represent the complete material for IELTS as well as the everyday plan Excel file. Let me show you the complete material. As you can see, this is the complete IELTS material list. Here all the components as well as the resources what you need are given. So IELTS speaking part 2, then task cards. I know you know about them, so I'm just going to give it an overall view. These are the resources that you need. And another one is the another one is the everyday plan for IELTS. So this is a 45-day based IELTS plan that I have made. So it varies upon the student's plan whether they can make it 45 days or less than that. But I recommend you to do this for your effective preparation. As you can see, from 10 days, first 10 days, we will do all the 4 modules. And on the 11th day, we will have a full combined mock test. If we follow this pattern continuously, then we will have 4 complete mock tests in the 45 days. And after giving this, I hope this will create an effective preparation for the students. I hope this is clear to you. So I have described my self materials by which I have been taking preparation. Also, there are some external resources such as the YouTube channels where I have taken guidance and information. These are the YouTube channels. As you can see, the first one is Learn with Sam and Ash. They are from India and they have given their IELTS exam recently and scored good bands. And after that, they started their YouTube channel where they have described their IELTS materials and given a free course also. If you want, you can join them. Secondly, you have the IELTS Advantage, which also provides materials freely, and they also undergo some courses which will give you more benefit. Same also goes for IELTS Daily. So these two are quite same. The fourth and fifth one, named as Yash Mitra, and another one is Asad Yaqub. These two are from Pakistan, and they have their own campus in Lahore. I think you guys know where Lahore is. So they have their own IELTS center where they teach students IELTS and give them free materials, take tests, and give free advices and tips and tricks. If you watch through their videos and get some good idea, this will give you a lot of benefit. Lastly, we have another online platform. This is from Bangladesh, known as the 10-minute school. Here we can also find varieties of resources about different types of education, but I would like to recommend you only to follow the IELTS section from this platform. So these are the YouTube channels that I have personally followed. Nextly, we have the online constituents along with mock tests. First, we have the Cambridge official IELTS books, which is series from 1 to 16. I am demonstrating one of the books. If you can see, let me know. Can you see the book?
We can't see. Oh, we can see now.
Yeah, it quite glimpses a lot. Can you see it now? I think you can see it now. So this is the IELTS academic book. It is the latest edition. That means the 16th edition of this book. In this way, you will have to buy 16 books from Milket or any other bookstore, or you can find it in online from various types of websites. I think you know about this, so I just explained it. Nextly, from Google, I personally followed these three websites, and these three are much better in different types of resources. And for mock test also, you can practice freely without any disaster. Nextly, we have the British Council website, from where you can also take the same guidance. We have also the IDP, as you know. And for practice test, this is the best as far as I have recommended, because it contains around 100 plus tests. For this, I recommend you to give at least 30 tests for your betterment, and then you can be able to judge your skills. Lastly, the spelling, vocabulary, and grammar. These are quite essential to develop your skills, and practice. You need to practice a lot. So I have given 3 links, as you can see. From these 3 links, you can get a good idea about these 3 different features. Lastly, there is an official app known as the IELTS Preparation. It has been specially designed by British Council. You can download this app only on your mobile device, not in PC, in the mobile. So, and all materials about how to use the app, then what is IELTS and how to prepare and how to book your test can be found there in details. Other apps which I can recommend you for gathering resource as well as applying for mock test are the following 5 apps. These are quite best, like IELTS practice and IELTS test, then vocabulary and preparation, then how to get 8+ band, as well as about the listening practice you can achieve through them. So this was the basic preparation that I have taken, and these were the resources that I have personally followed in order to improve my skills. I hope it is clear to you, and if it is, then we can move on to the next section. These are the tips and tricks to get good bands in IELTS. So individually, there are a lot of tips and tricks for each module, like this is for the writing. And there are 2 types of tips and tricks. One is for general purpose. That means it can be needed at any time for any purposes. Another one is especially for the IELTS part. Basically, it depends upon the type of question that comes in writing. So since there are a lot of resource tips and tricks, and although these are from different types of sources and you can find more, so I'm just going through it because it might take a lot of time if I explain through this. So I'm just going to give you an overall view. These are some sample writings from how to getting band 6 to 9. The link is given here. For speaking, there is also some tips and tricks. In general, these are the tips, and especially for IELTS, these are the tips and tricks for individual parts. For speaking samples, there are some lists given below, as well as how to get band 7 or more in IELTS speaking. Similarly, it goes for reading. These are the general tips, and these are especially for the IELTS part. Then there are some top 9 tips for IELTS reading only. And for getting more information, you can follow these 2 YouTube channels as I dedicated before. Lastly, we have the listening part, the tips and tricks which you have shown now. For more strategies on how to score 8 to 9 bands, you can follow these links, and more details about the techniques that you can follow for each question. So we have covered the tips and tricks section. Now it's the final objective that I want to talk about, which I mentioned before, that is how to prepare for the IELTS exam. This section will give you a brief description about the preparation for your IELTS exam from the beginning to the end. As you can see, as per my plan, the total duration that I have fixed for the preparation phase is at least 56 days, and in total 226 hours. This is according to my preparation. So I would like to recommend that if you want to make your preparation for a lengthy way, just do it around 50 days, because it will be much more effective. There are 5 stages for this preparation phase, starting with the first one, IELTS training course, which has been covered by Epsilon, 16 days, each day 2 hours. This gives you a brief idea about the train schedule with syllabus, and individual tests are taken in plethora, and 3 combined mock tests are also taken. According to my view, the features that I have gathered from this course are basically these: resources and materials, then tips and tricks, mock tests, then YouTube videos, different articles and leaflets, and finally the sample IELTS writing test materials, which was being provided in the course. Secondly, there is the crash program, which has been dedicated for 8 days, and each day there are 4 to 5 hours you need to invest. This is a short course and basically depended in order to give a quick revision of all the resources and materials, then coping up with all tips and tricks needed for IELTS, and in order to assess your position by giving a much mock test. As you can see, there are individual tests taken, so 4 individual tests for 4 modules. Thirdly, we have the review phase and resource enrichment. Here, the time is given 10 days, each day for 2 hours. This phase is basically for the extra addition of any resources. If you find anything in different types of sources and techniques from different sites of Google, as well as you can watch different social platforms such as YouTube or any other. I have recommended some channels, as you can see here. And if you want, you can consult with different types of experts in order to develop your strategies. Next, this is one of the important time for preparation. After you have covered all of your resources and materials, now it's time for you to get registered. And after getting registered, the time that you are now calculating, it is the peak time of your revision. And for this, I have prepared a final preparation after registration phase, which you need to give around 15 to 20 days at least, because this is the effective time for you. And each day you need to invest around 5 to 6 hours. And the plan will be to revise all the resources from Epsilon, then YouTube, Google, and your self documents, the documents that you have collected from yourself. Secondly, what you have to do is you'll have to attend in different mock tests. Either it's from online, the website is given, or you can use the British Council software known as IELTS Preparation, which I have previously told you that you can download it on your mobile devices at free cost. And thirdly, the series of Cambridge IELTS books dedicated from 1 to 16, which I have shown you. You can buy it from online, or from Bangladesh, you can buy it from Nilkhet or any other bookstore. And the last phase of my preparation is to prepare for the final test. This is the final test. It means that the 2 days when your test dates are finally given, you need to prepare for those 2 days, and each day you need to invest around 6 to 7 hours. This is just the reshuffle of your final preparation, along with improving all the problems, checking out whether you have any deficiency or not, as well as collecting all the information, practicing a lot, and attending as much mock test as you can. So this was the preparation phase. Now next is the registration phase, that is how to register for the IELTS exam. Already you know how to register for the IELTS exam, but I'm just going to highlight the points. Like, it can be done in either offline or in online. For offline, you have to go to your nearest British Council or IDP branch and get registered. But if you're doing it online, then the instructions such as logging into the British Council website, then booking your exam using the following materials, then at the first step, you need to create your account and fill up all the required details. On the second step, you just give your passport and the following details for identification. And on the third step, this is the step where maximum students and candidates get confused, that is about the payment issue. But I have clarified it here that if you go to payment details, you just need to give your necessary information, and you can pay your fee either by credit card simply, or if you want to pay it through bank, you are allowed to go to Standard Chartered Bank. But I personally prefer that you should do it by credit card, because since it's easy and does not require any effort, it's easy for you. But if you want to go through bank, then you can deposit to Standard Chartered Bank, then you will be provided some information which you need to collect and then apply it to your registration process. After you have completed all the necessary steps mentioned, there will be the final email confirmation for your booked test date and location from the required center, along with the criteria to be required and materials to be needed. This is the end of the registration phase, and from the next moment, you will have to start taking your preparation. I hope I'm clear to all of you. And next, we have the last topic of our today's presentation, that is the final exam day preparation. How will you take your preparation for the final exam day? I have listed out 3 bullet points. You will look at all of the materials. Then you need to check out what type of problems you are having and how to solve them. And lastly, you need to remember that during the exam, you need to be present at the exam hall at least 1 hour before the beginning of the test. Maximum of the students get confused at this issue. So I have clarified it here that if you want to go to the exam hall at least 1 hour before the beginning of the test, it will be better for you. Nextly, I have listed out the main timelines in 3 categories. One is the day before you test, what you'll have to do, then on the test day, and nextly during the IELTS test. Many of us know about this procedure, but in order to avoid confusion and other types of errors, I will just highlight the main points. Like, during the day before your test, you will have to check all of your details, like start time and location of your IELTS test. Remember that address, take to read the full details, get a full night's sleep, and don't take any stress. On the test day, you need to arrive in good time, as I mentioned, at least 1 hour before, otherwise you may not be allowed. And total time is 2 hours and 40 minutes for the written test only, and there are no breaks between each part of the test. And for checking your all details, make sure that all of them are correctly placed, because in exam hall you might be investigated. And during the IELTS test, most of us are getting confused that who will be examining the test. Actually, your test will be invigilated by the staff of British Council, as you know, throughout the whole time. If you have any questions, just raise your hand like this, and they will ask for you, come for your assistance. During the speaking test, if you misheard anything, you just ask them to repeat it for you, because you will not lose marks for this action. And for listening test, check that you can hear the test properly using the headphones or the speakers provided. And if there's any malfunction, simply raise your hand and let the invigilator know if you cannot hear the recording. Another important point is that remember you will have 10 minutes after the listening section to fill in your answer sheet. You will not have 10 minutes for this reading section, so make sure you write your answers on your reading answer sheet as you complete each section. To simplify with this, I would like to repeat it that for listening, we are given 30 minutes to listen to the audio, and then extra 10 minutes are for transferring answers to the answer sheet. But the same process is not allowed for reading section. So simultaneously, that means in both ways, we need to check the answers as well as transfer them to the answer sheet. I hope these three stages of preparation are clear to you. So that ends my presentation for today's day, and I am glad and thank you for listening with soothing patience. And it's been an absolute pleasure to contribute myself with you. I expect that this presentation of mine has found you useful and informative, and I have the expectation that this will provide students the courage and motivation to boldly prepare for their exams. Now, if you have any opinions and suggestions about this presentation, you can tell me, because it would be appreciating and it can be extremely helpful for attending successful IELTS exam with band 8 to 9. Once again, I thank you for your patience and giving some more time. So thank you. If you have any queries, you can simply unmute yourself and ask me freely.
I just want to say thank you for everyone for attending. I don't have a question as such, but I wanted to ask everyone who's attending if they had learned anything new or something that they didn't know before. So Chashma, Tahrima, anyone else, Adiba, was there anything that you found out today that you did not know before that was different? I just want to know if there's anything that you were surprised by. Feel free to unmute yourselves. So Adiba, was there anything that you were surprised by or that you didn't know previously that you found out today in the presentation?
No, actually, most of the things I know from before.
Good, good, good. That's amazing.
The presentation was really helpful.
Okay, good.
You can express your views and other opinions if you want. I know everything is clear to you and you have known it from the beginning, but if you have learned anything new or informative, you can share it with me freely. I actually hold this presentation in the context that as most of you are the teachers of Epsilon as well as my mentors. So I want to get my opinions and feedbacks from you in order to give some motivation and extra suggestion which can be helpful for me. If you have, please share with me.
Samin or Claudiana, do you guys have any comments about the presentation?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna talk right now. Basically, everything was pretty much like good. Like, you know, you kind of informed it from the very beginning, you know, like what the process is for like modules. But the thing I also like that I think we need to encourage is, you know, like making this IELTS course like more so entertaining, if anything, make it like fun for them, you know what I mean? But it seems that you've already like, you know, attempted, well, done that, because, you know, you've added like a huge amount of like YouTube videos and like kind of fun videos for people to have a look at, which is great. I think another thing that we could stress like later on, I think when the classes start, is that like how do I say? I think to stress that like the second batch is more of an upgrade from the first one, because obviously the first one there were like some gaps, like for sure, and we kind of like taken on people's feedback from the first batch. We've kind of amended to some feedback, you know, like listen to what people had to say about it, and therefore the batch that you're talking about, Diane, and you can even see it in the like resources you've used. It's obviously like, you know, you've used a lot of resources to help, and this is out of your own like effort. So thank you, Diane. And because of that, you might want to stress that the second batch is just has got way more resources and is therefore more helpful too. That's just something I think you might want to add, but everything is pretty much perfect. So yeah, thank you for the presentation, Diane. It was pretty helpful, and um, yeah, everything was good. I just don't know how you spent that so long, like gathering all the resources. That was so much, like, yeah, that's great.
Actually, thank you, Clodanam, for your opinion. I think this will encourage students to take their preparations boldly. And actually, all the materials that I have collected here, you can find it in various types of sources like YouTube or website. These are collected from there. I just compiled it in such a simple way that it can make easier for the students to take their preparations easily.
Oh, I
Okay,
see.
if anyone has any question, you can ask me or share your views.
I wanted to ask if Salmon had any questions or any kind of comments or feedback.
I don't think I have questions, but I guess for feedback, what I'd like to tell you, since you've constantly mentioned that speaking and writing is where students face the most problems, I guess one of the most simpler solutions to that would be before the days of your exams, right? I want you to try to speak in English whenever possible, right?
Yeah,
It
that could
seems
be a better option.
simple, but it's like just like before an exercise, you do need to warm up, right? Right. If you have a big game ahead, you do have a big test ahead, and it's better if you warm up. The longer you take to warm up, the better you'll perform, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
consider speaking in English in every chance you get, especially as you near the exam date. Like before the day of the exam, just give up speaking in Bangla, right? English is your first language, all right? This will help tremendously in fluency. It'll help you even like, you know, like everyone has an internal voice or monologue, right? Once you start incorporating English in your day-to-day lives, even your internal monologues will change to English, right? Because in the speaking exam, you won't get that much time to think. You're gonna have to speak it out, right? So if you're thinking in Bangla and then translating and then speaking it out, which do you think would be better, right? So everyone consider speaking. And for writing, I think there are like plenty of resources online, even comments of examiners that are readily available. Just go through them, keep reading them, read some books if necessary for vocab. The reading and listening, it's all about practice. I think the presentation was very rigorous, was comprehensive, it'll surely help them. Thank you.
Thank you, Saman, for your information. And I can see Closana ma'am raising his hand. Do you have any question?
Yeah, it's actually involving what Simon was talking about, because I think it is really important for people to kind of like, you know, just pretend in this like lovely, I don't know, just pretend that actually the only language they can speak is English, which actually reminds me, Diane, I'd actually like to ask you a question. During the first batch, um, you remember when we used to kind of send people to breakout rooms and do these like activities where you watch a video and answer some questions? Do you recall what language they used to speak in? Did they used to speak in English, like when talking to each other, or Bangla?
No, most of my friends with whom I have done communication while in the breakout rooms, they try to speak in Bangla. Sorry, they try to speak in English, but in some cases when they get stuck, then they used to write it in the chat box or just simply gave a message. But they actually try to talk in English while we are communicating about different answers, in order to
That's
make
good.
sure that they have
Yeah.
better efficiency.
That's great, but I think you know, it's not their fault if they like you know, the word that they're looking for, the only like word it can be is in Bangla. Like it happens, it's normal. Yeah, I think they already kind of know that they need to speak English, but I think it would be great to kind of remind them like, hey, please try your very best to just speak English, like just for helpful purposes. But thank you for this knowledge because I did not know. Yeah, I kind of assumed that they would speak English anyway, which is all right.
Thank you for your opinion. Actually, everyone tried to speak English at any instant, but if they continuously practice for a long time, I hope they can overcome their problems and then boldly prepare for their exams. And according to Samin Bhaiya, I would like to suggest that since you are most of the Bangladeshi students are having some problems in case of writing and speaking, but they are doing good in listening and reading. So it would be my suggestion that you need to take equivalent preparation that I have mentioned before. Like if you are giving 4 hours for listening and reading, then you need also to give 4 hours for the other two modules, because if you get imbalanced, then sometimes you have to face some challenges for each type of module. And also Samin has said that every day try to practice some types of speech, try to tell different types of topics in English, because this will improve your delivery fluency, as well as it will cover up all the pronunciations and other such as coherence and cohesion, which criteria are used to assess speaking. And most of all, it's important that you apply to different tests that I have suggested from different types of sources and websites, because if you go through this test, you will get a good idea about what type of structures the IELTS exam usually had and what type of questions do they provide. And this will help you to ace forward with a better acceleration. Also, if you follow the tricks and tips, then it will also be a good resource for you. So besides this, you will also do some suggestions about those. Okay, now if you have any questions to by anyone, then you can share your opinions. If not, then I think we can end the presentation, or shall we?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm good. I mean, I have a class very soon, but that's fine. In terms of the presentation, I think this is like great. Yeah, there's really nothing else to say really. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, ma'am, for your feedback. And since no one has any questions, so I'd like to hand over some speech to our respected manager, Mr. Topon, sir. Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, please tell us something about the overall presentation and your feedback.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. Like your teachers, like Samin and Claudian, and will be there hearing. They will comment on it. It's fine. I think it's fine. Yeah. I think Urbi will comment on it.
I just quickly wanted to add. I apologize for the kind of issues. Okay. I wanted to add that if anyone else has compiled any resources or have any other kind of ideas on how to improve the course, please forward them to Claudiana and Salmon. Also, we will be starting this Saturday, so tomorrow. If any of you have obviously potential students or anything, just remind them that it's tomorrow and that they have to sign up through the link. If you need the link again, it's on Google Classroom and on the Facebook page. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. If not, I think Diane, you can finish off and then we can end this call.
Okay, before finishing off, I'd like to tell some information that since I have recorded this whole meeting, so after the ending of this, before the beginning of the second IELTS batch, if anyone is interested to know about what the IELTS overall view and get the information and resources that I have shared, if the manager, that is Topon sir, permits, along with Urbi, Samin Bhaiya and Closana ma'am, then I can upload this recording in the Epsilon IELTS Facebook page that has been created, so that if other students can watch this recording, then they can get some idea, and they will be assessing with different types of modules, and before the joining in the class, they will be able to get some good idea about the whole IELTS structure.
You also share your resources like this Word document and the Excel file.
So should I upload this recording after the end of the presentation on the Facebook page? It's up to
Not
you
sure, should
guys.
he?
No, it's up to you, everyone. That if I upload this, will it be helpful? Or
I think do upload it onto the Facebook page, and especially the Word document, send it to Samin and Claudiana, because they'll be obviously conducting the course. Obviously I'll be here and there, but it's best that they have a look at the kind of structure that you've made. Also, if anyone else, just like Diane has done, feel free to, I almost recommend you guys do a similar kind of plan. If you yourself are creating a course, how you would do it, and then we can kind of accumulate everyone's kind of input to, you know, make the best course possible. So it'd be advised that all of you do something similar to Diane and forward it to Samin and Claudiana.
okay, then I'll ensure about this process. I will upload the recording as well as upload the file to Samin Bhaiya and Rosanna. So since there is no more questions, I think we can end the meeting here at this stage. So in the end, I'd like to tell you that it has been a wonderful session with you, everyone, and I hope I have been able to contribute myself within you, and these resources will enable the upcoming candidates to get boldly prepared for their preparation in IELTS. So wishing a best start for the second IELTS batch, and wishing good suggestions and wishes for the students also. So with this, I would like to end. So thank you for attending, and see you everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. See you all soon.
Bye everyone.